Hey, F&I peeps out there. I want to talk about the F&I menu and how to master it in 2025 because the F&I menu is more than just a list of products. It's your opportunity to build trust and guide the customer to really smart decisions, especially in 2025. With these digital tools and well-informed buyers, your presentation matters more than ever. So let's talk about how to stay sharp and get results this year. So here's the deal. You want to get really good in 2025? You want to master the F&I menu or option disclosure presentation? There's a few key essentials or components that you need to follow in order to get it done the right way and to master it and maximize your opportunities, every opportunity. And the first thing is you got to get to the customer fast and furious. What I mean by that, especially in 2025, in this digital age where all the information's out there, if you don't get to the customer as soon as that deal is being manufactured with the sales consultant, the sales managers, you're going to lose distinction, you're going to lose momentum, and you're going to lose profit. So you got to get to the customer as soon as you sniff a deal and get to them and ask them questions, answer their questions, form that connection with the customer early on in the selling process. So when they get to the dealership or they're at the dealership, you have that connection. You reduced apprehensions and resistance. It's really important in 2025 in this digital age that as F&I managers, we get involved in every one of these deals as early as possible. And I recommend that every F&I manager that's watching this video get access to the dealership's CRM tool, the customer management systems, because that's the pulse of the dealership. And that gives you an idea of where the deal is in its progress. And you can have these conversations with the sales consultant because let's face it, 80 to 90%, and maybe even more in some parts of the country, these deals are being manufactured online. The customer's only coming to the dealership to take a test drive and to finalize everything. And if you hadn't been involved in that deal prior to the customer getting there, you're going to lose. You're not going to win. To have a customer simply dragged across the showroom floor after waiting 3 days to come to the dealership to buy their car or finalize the paperwork and you're not ready for them, they're not going to like it at all because they simply don't have the patience anymore. All that information is out there. So you got to get on the phone with them, or you got to get out in the showroom, or you got to send them an email and introduce yourself, form that connection, and answer any and all questions that they may have in an upfront, direct, and honest manner. You need to verify and gather the information prior to doing an F&I menu presentation or option disclosure. How many times do you make mistakes because Elizabeth was a Betty was an Elizabeth, or Bobby was a Junior? The Joneses didn't live at that road, that street for 2 years, or that house for 2 years. Think about it. How many times you got the wrong car because you weren't involved in the deal and everything was rushed? And that's another thing. If you don't get involved in the deals early, you're going to be rushed. Everything's quick, fast, and everything's in turmoil. Let's face it, a lot of minutia throughout the day as an F&I manager. And now you got to focus on the customer that was plopped in front of you. So I can't stress how important it is to get involved in these deals early, to answer customers' questions, all questions, in an upfront, direct manner, honest manner. Gather information about their driving habits so that you can not tailor the presentation, because I'm going to talk about how a presentation should be the same. Your F&I menu presentation should be the same. The only thing that should change is whether it's a lease, cash, or finance deal. And the terms of the products that you have available to the customer will change based on the customer's driving habits. And I'm not talking about old school, just go out there and say, hey man, how many miles are you going to drive? How long you plan on keeping the car? You got to go out there and have a conversation. You got to gather information and that shows that you care about them. It's going to ease everything into the F&I process by you making an introduction. One of the first things you want to do today is congratulate the customer. Because now you're going to solidify the deal. You'll know if you got a deal by calling the customer or going out and meeting the customer in the showroom floor and saying, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, congratulations on purchasing a new car. My name's Gerry Gould. I'm the financial services manager. I'm going to complete all necessary paperwork. You got a few minutes I can talk to you now and get everything ready for when you come in to pick up the car? Or go out in the showroom. Congratulations on purchasing a new car. My name's Gerry Gould, Mrs. Jones. That's a great choice. I'm the financial services manager who's going to complete all necessary paperwork to get the car on the road. You mind if I join you? Oh, come on, let's go into my office and get these things squared away. You'll know if the deal's done because the customer's going to say, "Oh, thank you, let's go." Or they're going to say, "Well, wait a minute, I didn't buy it yet. There's a couple things I got to do," and then you can find out what they need to do, so on and so forth. Oh, how important is it getting involved early? It's that important. How important is it gather and verify information? How are you going to recommend something to a customer if you don't know their driving habits? You don't know anything about them. I recommend a service contract. Why is that? Because our cars break down. Or I recommend a service contract because you drive 18,000 miles a year and you said you're going to keep the car for 5 to 6 years. Or I recommend the bundle program because you're leasing the vehicle and every dime that you put into this vehicle is going to be wasted money because it's only a benefit the next owner of the lease company. Let's face it, you're renting the vehicle. The only thing that's really covered is the warranty. Everything else you're going to have to pay for. So why don't you pay for it up front? You'll never pay more. Hedge on inflation. All right. Transfer in risk. Lock in the costs. These are the things that you need to say to your customer. But you can't say these things to your customer if you don't know anything about them. So, how do you make an introduction conversational? You sit the customer down in your office, or you sit with them in the showroom floor, or you call them on the phone, or you set up a time to call them on an email, and maybe you use a digital software, communication software such as Zoom, GoToMeeting. I don't know if Skype's out there anymore, or FaceTime. And you have that conversation, you form that connection with the customer. So make it conversational. Very simple. I want to review the figures with you one time, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Make sure I got all the figures right. And then I want to ask you a couple questions, okay? Because I'm going to need to know who your insurance company is, what your deductibles are, so on and so forth. So it's going to take me about 3 or 4 minutes to gather this information so I have everything right. So when I print it, it's done and everything's done and you leave and everything's okay. Fair enough? Let's go. All right. This is the 2025 Honda Accord. It red with the tan interior. As I mentioned, that's a great combination. You're aware the vehicle has 25 miles on it. Yeah, I am. How many of those miles did you put on it? Oh, I put a few miles on it. How'd you like the test drive? It was really nice. What'd you think of all the technology? Knowing that this customer owned Hondas, this is like their third or fourth Honda that they bought from you, and they've owned that Honda for 6 or 7 years, and you mentioned what you think of all the technology, something's going to pop up like this. Man, it's a lot different than the Honda I'm driving right now. And that's exactly what you want them to say. Because you can remind them after you give a wonderful presentation, a telling presentation, a presentation that's nice and short, quick and direct and to the point. Which option works best for you? They say, "None, it's a Honda. I never had a problem." Yeah, but this is a lot different than the Honda you had before. You can't say that if you don't know anything about them. How about the insurance deductible? What's your insurance deductible? You're going to find out if the customer is a risk taker or not a risk taker based on the deductible they tell you. For example, someone with a $200 deductible, they don't like taking risks because they would rather pay a higher premium for the insurance than have to pay a deductible at the end. They're not saying they're going to have an accident, but they think they might. Opposed to that customer who says, "Oh, I got $1,000 deductible." Oh, they're really proud because they'd rather pay a lower premium because they don't think they'll ever have an accident and have to pay a deductible. That's the reason why we gather this information. Now, attention span. Customers simply don't have an attention span, especially when buying a car. After they say they bought it, they just want to get out of there, or they just want to start enjoying the benefits. It's called instant gratification. The products that you have available in the F&I office have no instant gratification, and you have to take that mindset. The customers don't feel the need for the products you're about to share with them. After all, they're not thinking that the car's going to break down, or they're going to have to replace a tire, or they're going to total the vehicle. They're thinking about driving it to the lake or showing it off to their neighbors and their friends and their coworkers. And last thing on their mind is something to go wrong with the vehicle. And here you are telling them all the reasons why they should buy this, all this verbal vomit. And they're sitting there going, "I never had a problem in the past. So you really think that?" Look, let's not use scare tactics. Let's just go in reasonably. Verify, gather information about the customer, and to give them a presentation that's telling. The best telling presentation that I've come up with over the years is it pays for this, it pays for that, it pays for this, it pays for that, it pays for this, it pays for that. The customer gets a sense that they don't have to pay for anything. The only thing that really protects the vehicle, once applied, is the paint and fabric. Once it's applied, it protects the vehicle against the elements, acid rain, bird droppings, tree sap, protects the interior against any water, oil-based stain. Make it that simple. It's easy for them to understand. Stop using unnecessary dialogue when you go into a presentation. That's going to help you today because once again, 2025, digital age, they can get all this information. They already know. Don't make assumptions. With assumptions, you lose. Okay? So, recap. Get to them fast and furious. Answer questions. Verify, gather information. Set expectations. After you've had a conversation with them or after you've did an introduction, set the expectations, realistic expectations. In the next 3 minutes, Mr. Jones, I'm going to share with you how to enhance your ownership experience. Just think about that. It's going to take you less than 3 minutes to go through a presentation. It might take you 5 minutes to do an introduction or an interview to gather information, verify information, maybe review a credit report, maybe review the credit application. But once you get into the menu presentation, The first thing you need to do is let them off the hook. Let them know that they can take delivery of the vehicle at the figures they agree to. That may not be the best option for them. There's other options to enhance your ownership experience. And I want to take the next few minutes to share with you those options. May I? Yeah, go right ahead. Oh, the customer's a little resistant. No, I don't want to do it. I never buy that stuff. Please don't waste my time. I just want to get in my car and drive home. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to share with you some things that are going to enhance your ownership experience. May I? Develop a transition statement into your menu presentation that relaxes the customers, that reduces their resistance, hesitation, and apprehensions. Now keep your presentation short. Once you get the customer to agree to go through the menu presentation, listen, it's pretty easy. It's not that hard, especially if you formed that connection early, especially if you got to them fast and furious, especially if you gave them what I call the DIMTY, DIMTY, do I matter to you? Because you asked them questions, and those questions that you asked showed you cared. If you want to know more about the questions that you should ask, I'll give you a little hint. Get over to prodprep.com. All the information's there. In fact, why don't you subscribe to prodprep.com? I personally invite you to go to prodprep.com and check it out. Send me an email, and I'll give you a 30-day test drive, or maybe a 15-day test drive. Depends on who you are and if I know you. I'm just kidding. Get over to prodprep.com. But anyways, I would recommend embracing the latest technology. Let's face it, computers don't lie. When a customer looks at a tablet or look at a digital screen on a computer, they rely more on that than paper. It's just that simple. That's the age we're in. So I would embrace as much as you can, or learn how to embrace digital menus, tablets, so on and so forth. In fact, you could put a tablet on your desk with the menu showing, print a paper menu, explain to the customer the features of each product in the columns in the menu, and then go to the menu and allow the customer to make the choices, because these tablets allow the customer to move stuff around. It's almost like shopping at Amazon. Here's my shopping cart. Whatever you like, bring over here. And the payment would automatically change. But here's the presentation. Keep it short. Keep it direct. Keep it simple. Keep it something that the customer can fully understand. Mr. Jones, you can take delivery of the vehicle, the figures you agree to. That may not be the best option for you. There's other options to enhance your ownership experience. My job is simply to review them with you. May I? Sure, go right ahead, Gerry. All right. This worry-free column has every option that's available to you, from a vehicle service contract to guaranteed asset protection. And what this does, it pays for mechanical electric breakdowns for the next 10 years or 100,000 miles. It gives you roadside assistance for the next 10 years, 100,000 miles. It gives you a rental car when your vehicle breaks down, is in the shop. It gives you towing to get the vehicle to the shop when it breaks down. And then there's tire and wheel. The tire and wheel pays for damage to your tires and wheels when damaged by any type of road hazard, anything that shouldn't be in the road, pothole, nail, glass, anything that might fall out of a truck. Then you have key replacement, which pays for repair or reprogramming of your keys when they become inoperative. Maybe they get lost. It will replace them. And any keys that are on it, up to a certain amount of money, if you want to go down that road with them. Protection of the vehicle, because I saw that you take really good care of your vehicle that you're trading in. This will protect the vehicle, fabric and paint treatment, against the elements, acid rain, bird dropping, trees. It will protect the interior against any water, oil-based stain. And should the interior encounter a rip, tear, or burn, minor rip, tear, or burn, it will pay to have that repaired. That's how you give a straightforward, telling, shortened presentation that keeps the customer's attention. Let's face it, customers can relate to it pays for. Sometimes verbal vomit, or you use dialogue that's unnecessary, confuses the customer, and then hesitation sets in after you ask them to buy. So keep it short. And you want to prepare yourself for the no? Then use the free no first. After you give that telling presentation, you look at the customer and you say, do you have any questions about the options I just shared with you? That takes the knee-jerk reaction out of the equation. Because if you just simply, after your presentation, say, okay, which option works best for you, or you recommend a product, the customer's liable to say no. So if you want to embrace the no, and it's going to take you possibly 3 times to get through the no, and if you want to learn how to get through the no, once again, go to prodprep.com. Just give me an idea. There's so much information on there. You can forget mastering the F&I menu. You'll master F&I. But here's the deal. Most customers are going to say no. If they do have a question, it's more than likely going to sell the product they had the question on. And then once they say they don't have any questions, just simply look at them and say, then which option works best for you? And get ready for the no. Because I can almost guarantee, in fact, I can guarantee that if you follow the instructions I just gave you, or you go to Prod Prep and tear off the F&I menu presentation word track, memorize it, personalize it, and use the free no at the end, and ask the customer which option works best for them. 30% of your customers sitting in front of you are going to choose an option. I'm not saying they're going to choose a column, they're going to choose an option. And it doesn't matter. I just want you to know it doesn't matter, in my opinion, whether you use one, two, three, or four columns. That digital technology that you have, there's so many different variables that you can use. Learn the technology, develop a word track that's quick, easy, and simple for on the customer's ears, that holds their attention, is not unnecessary dialogue, and wears them out. And you will sell stuff like it's falling off the shelf. So when the customers, 30% of those customers will select an option. The other 70%, just go to Prod Prep and we'll share with you how to handle those. All right. Until next time, go get them.